Right. Either way, glasses are cool, whatever you want.
Okay.
And so, my first question to you is what inspired you to join the Flow Through Winter 8-week program? And what were you hoping to achieve?
So I was inspired by one of my best friends. Um, my best friend, I would say, doesn't have the most like conventional like routine, but she's always like in such a high level of abundance and
Mm-hmm.
such a high level of like spiritual clarity, and like she's just so certain in who she is, and like honestly, no matter what happens, she's always like the calmest around
Mm.
this. And like I she honestly told me, like, you see how my life is, it's because of this class. So like
You said that?
she was like, it's because of stuff like this. And I was like,
Yeah, for
okay,
sure. Not you. Yeah.
like you're right. Because if there's somebody that's self-disciplined, it's Irie. Like
Right.
he is like the embodiment of being self-disciplined.
Facts.
So it ultimately wanted like it like pushed me to like find a level of not just like spiritual stability, but also like pushing myself to like a level of dedication in order to like provide myself a sense of like wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've
Mm-hmm.
always felt like there's kind of been like issues within myself and my self-discipline and how I like ultimately stay motivated, and like I feel like that also affects my clarity with things, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if there's no solid routine and there's no self-discipline, then how are you really supposed to know what you want, what you're doing, who you are, where you're going, things like that.
Facts. Facts.
um
So facts. Yeah, I feel that. That's real. That's
so
real.
I felt like I wanted to find a sense of self-discipline and ultimately understand like how the cold and dark times of winter can kind of still provide a sense of like wholeness in myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. Great answer. Love that. Next question. How did the weekly themes like befriending the body, awareness, and acceptance impact your relationship with stress?
It definitely taught me to like take a step back with things before reacting, because ultimately like whatever the theme was, ironically those issues would come forth, like
It's hitting
befriend
that week, huh?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
befriending
yeah.
the body. Like of course, like I dealt with like the craziest body dysmorphia, and like
Mm,
I also realized like damn, I put my body through way too much. Like I have like the elements of the theme, ultimately they stick with me because I'm trying they teach me how to be proactive, right? Because I'm coming into that week of like, okay, this is the theme. This like let me allow myself to recognize these things and these signs. And I definitely felt like they helped because they ultimately set the tone, for what I was trying to achieve for the week. And um it was also nice to be able to like have the prompts and like
mm,
to be able to take the time to not, because we can feel things all we want, right? But like what are we doing with those feelings, and like how are we acknowledging,
mm,
so
mm,
to be able to have the theme really allowed me to like address my feelings and address why they're an issue, or not an issue necessarily, but why it's a topic that I need to address.
mm-hmm. That's real. That's real. So, align with addressing that at the end of each session, if you remember, we do a meditation to let
Right.
that session integrate. How did that meditation show up, and how did it support your personal growth through the 8 weeks?
Honestly, like I feel like I've always thought I've meditated, but I didn't really meditate until this class. Like complete like silence and like thoughts like really like being shut off.
Mm,
And I think that that allowed me to really just sit with my emotions as opposed to like just feeling them and automatically like almost like a ball, you know, like you throw something at it and automatically it like bounces back. And as opposed to doing that, like letting the emotions hit me and then kind of figuring out, okay, like what am I supposed to do with this? Like, and then getting to the meditation, it's like being able to just not zone out, but kind of shut everything off is like so helpful because you see me, like I'm literally at my work desk now. Like at that time, things were so much more chaotic. So to have chaos on top of chaos and on top of stress and like not really being financially where I need to be, like the meditation was kind of like a nice like cherry on top, you know, to like the release. And it's ironic because you think release like, oh, screaming, writing a song, you know, kickboxing
Mm-hmm.
classes or whatever. But in
Mm-hmm.
reality, like the nicest release for me was just being in like complete silence, not thinking, talking.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, yeah. How did the group process and dyad work enhance your journey in the program, and what did you gain from sharing and connecting with other people?
To be honest, and I hope this doesn't sound horrible, but I'm very the type of person, and I don't mean any offenses because I know you're part white, you know, but it's always kind of been hard for me to share that space with people who are not necessarily people of color. Um, but
Right
then
on.
hearing everybody's stories and like seeing people break down the way that they did, and also hearing things that they were saying that I could relate to was pretty eye opening. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that I'm negating, you know, what our people do go through, but like to be able to like hear somebody out who, you know, is not necessarily POC, is not necessarily a minority, or listening to people who have complete different lifestyles than me, you know, listening to their stories, like it allows you to really just kind of keep an open mind and like we're all here for a reason, you know, and like whether that reason be the same, like I feel like in the meditation group, it really allowed me to like see people for them, you know, not
Mm-hmm.
their race, not their color, their financial stature, like
Mm-hmm.
not how many degrees they have, you know, like it really allowed me to like let people in like that, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
normally I am pretty standoffish and kind of closed off. But I think having that open mindedness really allowed me to, you know, allow the like the oneness, I guess, you know, the togetherness of it.
Mm-hmm. That identity factor. Yes, good, thanks.
Mhm.
What role did the home practice play in your transformation during the program, and how did it integrate into your daily life?
Ooh. So the being home was really hard. Um, it kind of made it that much more of a challenge, you know.
Mm,
I wasn't in the place that I wanted to be. And ultimately, it was kind of like motivation too. Like, dude, you got to get the hell out of here because you can't be doing these things with everybody here, you know?
mhm,
So I think it was like a motivating force. And also, you know, it, can you repeat the second part of the question? I'm sorry. I want to make sure I answer it.
yeah, like how did the home practice integrate into your daily life? Like you said,
Oh,
it was the indicator of you got to get out of here, and how did it continue to integrate?
so yeah, it definitely continued because it was more so like a motivation, you know, like, and then I see like you're obviously like very, you know, motivating, like, you know, you have your degree in this and like this is something that you ultimately like put your whole life into, you know, and like that's very admirable. And I think to me I feel like when a lot of big things happen, it ultimately like makes me look back like, why didn't I finish school? You know, why did I get into so much debt? Like, why did I allow myself to do all these things again, just due to like lack of self-discipline, right? So it taught me to be disciplined with myself, because it's not just the daily things. Like those small acts of self-discipline ultimately like play the role in where you are in the next year, you know, hence now. And you know, I've kind of explained to you like how much my life has changed, you know, since then. So I think like it being a daily practice ultimately like created like a pipeline for my goal. You know, it ultimately like shot off the tunnel vision, because even trying to go to like my ex-partner's house was like impossible trying to do it, you know, like it was just like no matter where I went, like if I went to the park, my signal would cut out. Like no matter, I feel like no matter what I did, it was like, okay, you shouldn't even have to do it. You shouldn't even have to do this, because you can do this in your house if you had your own house.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's real.
Wow.
Yeah. Just
That's hard.
that perpetual reminder, huh?
Yeah. It's just like, why did I drop out of college? You know, like 10 years later.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
All right. What was the most powerful insider breakthrough you had during the program? And how has it influenced the way you view your life now? Or was that the last thing you talked about?
No, I feel like I feel like this class reminded me that I'm not as broken as like I think I am.
Gang. I feel that.
I I love that at the end of each session when we say like I am complete, you know,
Mm.
and I'd never really had said that to myself out loud before. Like I've
Mm.
never verbalized that. Like obviously I feel good, but being complete and being good are two,
Mm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think that it taught me, like, I think the most profound thing that it taught me was like I'm not as broken as I think I am. Yes, there's obviously things I need to improve. I need to get this damn degree, but um it taught me too that like I am so much more whole than I really think I am. Like I have
Mm.
all the resources, tools, capabilities. Like I'm smart, I'm passionate, I know how to talk to people. I like set a goal and then kill it. And it was a nice reminder that like there's not a million things wrong with me. Like yes, there are some days that are bad, but it could be a million times worse for myself. And it also taught me that like I can really do a lot when I'm in the right mentality. Like when I have the self discipline, when I'm on it with diet, food, exercise, you know, stress relief, not dedicating too much time to going out and doing shows, you know, like really staying focused in school, like really trying to save, like I can really make a satisfying and fulfilled life for myself. You know,
Mm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
need like I just don't ever want to feel, because when I first started the class, I did feel like I was broken. I ultimately felt like this will fix me, you know? And in a
Mm.
sense it did, but it wasn't like on some like, Yasmeen, go in the corner and think about what you did, you know? It
Mm-hmm.
was more so like it was therapy, but not necessarily, you know? Like it was just like it taught me that like yeah, with the right mental and with the right tools I can get to where I want to be. It's not so much
Mm-hmm.
that life is extra hard for me, or um you know, obviously being a woman of color, like there are just battles I will have to face, but it also taught me like yeah, but like those things are not going to change. So
Mm.
you have to put in that extra legwork. You have to like have the right mentality and the discipline you need to show up for yourself and change your life. Like you're not broken. You're complete the way you are, and the way you are, and you can take that and make things happen for yourself.
Mm-hmm. I love what you just said. You're not broken, you are complete, and you can take that and make things happen for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my last question for you, would you recommend Float the Winter program to other people, and what would you tell someone considering signing up for this next cycle?
I definitely would. I would tell people that I know that it is hard to dedicate yourself to something,
Mm,
but the results are so worth it. Like with anything, like going through with, I don't know if you remember, but I was like on a weight loss journey, and
mm-hmm.
I've been in a boot camp fit class through work, and I've lost like 19 pounds in the past 4 weeks. Like it's been a
You
really
feel
good
you
class.
feel good about that?
I felt great. Not only
Congratulations.
because, like,
Congratulations.
thank you. The way I see it too is now that I'm being healthier, I really gotta make sure that I'm okay.
Mm,
Like, not that you shouldn't think that if you're not healthy, but like, losing this weight and feeling lighter, feeling more energized. I'm like, oh shit, I really gotta make sure that like things are good for myself, because I'm never gonna
mm,
have this energy or time or this body again as I get older.
mm,
So I think that as long as I would tell that person, I know it's hard to dedicate yourself, especially if you have a 9 to 5, especially if you have kids, like whatever the case may be, but it's not impossible. And when you actually do it, you can actually see how much, not necessarily how this class will change you, but how this class will remind you that you literally have all of the attributes to make your life successful, whatever success may be. But you have it in you, like
mm-hmm.
it like be prepared to be shaken up, like I cried so much. I cried so much in that class, but it was good tears. Like it was almost like tears that I hadn't cried since I was a little girl. Like those feelings of feeling stuck or feeling like you gotta hide in your own home. Like I literally hadn't felt those things since I was a child. So it will definitely like bring up the things that are probably hard to deal with. But honestly, that's the best way to grow, like
Mm,
finally, it's almost like taking acid. I won't compare your
mm.
class to taking acid,
No,
like,
please do. Please
but like
do.
the class is definitely like taking acid, you're excited, you're like, hell yeah, I'm about to go on a trip. And then midway through the trip, you're like, oh my God, I'm a shitty person. Oh my God, why did I yell at that girl in
Uh,
third grade? Like it brings up all the ugly. But then once you face all that ugly, you kind of think to yourself, like, okay, like this is who I was, but who I was doesn't define who I am.
say shit.
And I definitely feel like if you want to figure out who you are right now, it is really good to take this class, because
Mm,
yoga is just the portion of it, right? Ultimately, to me, the yoga is easier than what we had to do on paper.
ooh.
So,
Think about that.
yeah.
How is it easier to do the yoga than the actual assignments and the reflection, the journaling, and the sharing?
Because like when we're doing, sorry, my battery is going dead. Because when we're doing the yoga, we're on camera. You can see
Mm.
everything. I remember at one point my shirt kept rolling up and you were like, stop touching your shirt. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think he could see that, you know? So when you're on the camera, like you're accountable right then and there. You gotta do the work. But off
Mm,
camera, you know, in the notebook throughout the week, that's
mm,
us.
mm, mm-hmm.
That's the part where we gotta step in and be like, shit, I gotta write this down. I have an assignment due today. So that's kind of what I mean by that.
Mm. That's good. That's good game. Thank you so much, Yasmeen. I really appreciate you for this time and answering these
Of
questions.
course, of course. I really want to do the class, but I'm just so worried. Like, I'm starting up school again in January, so I'm kind of like, I'm not sorry, not January. Oh my God, this is the second. When's the 12th? Oh my God, that's next week. I start school next week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's
So,
just I just don't know what I'm gonna do as far as time. Like Sunday is gonna be my only day to catch up on everything.
To catch up on everything, are you insinuating that you're going to be behind perpetually?
Because I'm gonna be dedicating my Saturdays to work, kind of. Like,
Okay. All right.
here's my schedule for the week, right? I work 8 to 5. I do my gym class from 7 to 8, and then I'm left with like 2-3 hours of like cleaning, cooking, meal prepping, doing that stuff. So if I start, well, when I start work, I started, I believe, the 21st. So when I start working on Saturdays, I'm gonna be working Saturdays from 8 to 5, no, 9 to 6, and then I'll only be left with Sunday as like my day.
Yeah, I get that. It's definitely different than just having the day to fully recharge. I understand the internal debate. I think spend some time with it because I can see the benefit of both. You know,
Right.
I've done both in different seasons. Like, okay, no, I need the day just to me, or like, you know what, giving a day to me is day giving myself a day to like fully just like, all right, I'm gonna be really strict about my recharge on Sundays and be like, I'm locked in. The only thing I'm doing is stuff that returns energy to me, and I'm adding flow to that. So I could see both, you know. I think just feel into it. You got until like the 7th, I think,
Okay.
to let me know, right? I would say even start school, start work, and see how those first 2 weeks, 3 weeks feel. Because
Right.
that'll give you enough time to feel into it because we're not starting until the 12th of January anyway.
Oh, that's
So
right.
you'll have a month time with your school to see how it feels and start to integrate. And I think you might find that you're more able to do it because you're in flow instead of it all hitting at once.
Okay.
So just feel into it, and I'll touch base with you over the month and see what's going on, how it's all going.
Okay.
Because I would love to have you in the program for sure. I would love to. Irie's going to be in it this year for sure,
Okay.
and also, do you know Rosario?
She was in it last year, no?
Nah, she wasn't in it.
I don't think so. I mean, that's my mom's name, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's a
Uh,
trip. Okay.
yeah. But no, I don't know Rosario in the yoga collective.
Okay, yeah, she introduced Irie introduced me to her as a student, so
Oh, okay, cool.
she's gonna be in it this year also. So
Awesome.
yeah, hopefully you're in it. I'll touch base with you, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Talk to you
All
soon.
right. Sounds good.